Chapter 29. Pickup. Joe called Kyle on Tuesday night, and it looked like the AFA intended to keep security tight. The boys were told to wear accurate watches and set them to the correct time before leaving. They were asked to wear ordinary casual clothes and carry one small bag or backpack. The packs were supposed to contain one change of clothes, a towel, a small quantity of personal toiletries, and, optionally, one book or magazine which Joe said should be suitable for reading on a long journey. Mobiles or any other forms of electronic gadget that might contain a hidden listening device were banned. The pickup point was the dilapidated barn where they'd met up with Zebra Alliance activists before vandalising the police cars a month earlier. James and Kyle noticed Tom's MG as they approached and found the two lads around the back, squatting on the edge of an upturned water trough. Kyle stepped up and gave Tom a long kiss. Viv gave James an almighty slap on the back, his trademark greeting for anyone he liked. "Hey, cop killer! Long time no see," Viv said, before looking across at Kyle and Tom. "I know what you're thinking, kid. I mean, how can that possibly be better than what I got up to last night with Sophie?" James started to crack up laughing. So, how's your ass?" "Fully recovered," Viv said. "I was really pissed off to miss the action on Monday. Tom said it was an amazing night." "Certainly wasn't dull," James smirked, as a horn blasted on the other side of the barn. The boys wandered around the front to see a long wheelbase van rolling up the drive. A woman in sunglasses stepped out of the cab, and James realised it was the one who called herself Joe the second she opened her mouth. She wore combat trousers, and judging by the bulge, there was a handgun tucked into them. "Hey boys," she said. "You must know how this works by now, so step into the barn and start stripping off your clothes." Another woman had climbed out the passenger side of the van. She was in her 20s, good-looking, with red cheeks. "Adelaide Kent," Lauren thought, almost dropping her camera in shock. Lauren was staked out in the bushes 20 metres from the barn. She wasn't invisible, but you'd have had to look hard to see her. And if she was caught, she could push the matchbox-sized digital camera down the back of her underwear and pretend to be nothing more than a kid's sister sticking her nose where it didn't belong. As James, Kyle, Tom and Viv stepped into the barn to be searched by the two women, Lauren crept up through the bushes until she was directly in line with the rear of the van. She could easily be spotted from this distance, but it was the only way she'd get a shot inside the van when the rear doors opened. She flipped the tiny camera into video mode, propped it on a branch, and tied it into position with the neck strap. When this was done, she dashed back to her original spot and slid a tiny remote out of her pocket. James was the first to emerge a couple of minutes later. He pulled down his tracksuit bottoms and started peeing against the side of the barn. By the time he'd finished, the others were heading towards the rear of the van. Lauren hit record on the remote as Joe opened the rear doors. "Looks comfy," James grinned, as he stepped into the back of the van. There were cushions and beanbags piled up inside the long metal box. There were no windows in the back or sides, so they wouldn't know where they were going. But the vehicle had started life as a security van, and the escape hatch in the roof had been ripped out to let in fresh air and light. The only other person in the back of the van had made himself comfortable, stripped down to his shorts and sprawling over two beanbags. He looked about 20 years old. "I'm Jay," he said, touching fists with the four new arrivals as Joe slammed the back doors and plunged them into gloom. Once they'd all settled in, Jay put on the Beatles' White Album and offered everyone a choice of Coke or mineral water from a cooler box. "You better appreciate the music," Jay grinned. "I waged war to bring this boombox. I told the girls there was no way I was sitting in a van for 4 hours staring at metal." "You couldn't read for that long," Kyle said, "especially in this light." The long wheelbase gave all 5 lads space to stretch out, and James got comfortable on a big cushion, with a smaller one propped behind his head. He was nervous about the next 48 hours, but Tom, Viv, Jay, and Kyle all started chatting, and he found it hard not to pick up the buzz of 5 young men going on an adventure. The only trouble was, it was high summer, and they were trapped inside a poorly ventilated metal-sided box. By the time they reached the motorway, everyone had copied Jay and stripped down to their shorts. Lauren gave the van a minute to clear the area around the barn before grabbing the camera and sprinting off across the fields towards the cottage. Zara was waiting at the kitchen table with her laptop open. "What did you get?" "I took pictures," Lauren gasped. "More important, I recognised one of them. Adelaide Kent, from when we rescued Meatball. She seemed so gentle with the dogs and putting her little sisters to bed and that." "You should know better than to judge people based upon one meeting," Zara cautioned, as she wired Lauren's camera up to the laptop. She copied the whole lot onto the hard drive and emailed the pictures to Cherub campus before taking a look herself. "Run the video," Lauren said. "I wonder if we'll be able to make out anything inside the van." Windows Media Player popped up on screen. The first few seconds of picture were washed out as the little camera adjusted its exposure settings from the sunlight reflecting off the back of the van to its gloomy interior. The next bit showed legs and bums as the boys clambered into the van. But Lauren finally spotted something useful as they settled onto their cushions. "That's Jay," Lauren said, tapping the screen. "Adelaide's boyfriend." "Can you remember his surname?" "Buckle, like a belt," Lauren nodded. "Good stuff, Lauren. Hopefully the names and the picture of the mysterious Joe will help us fit together a picture of the AFA." Ryan had taken to spending all his mornings in bed and was heading into the kitchen, dressed in a set of striped pajama bottoms. "Morning," he said, reaching into the fridge and grabbing the carton of orange juice. "Did I overhear you talking about Jay and Adelaide?" "Ew," Lauren gasped. "Don't drink out of the carton, Ryan. You're as bad as James." Ryan grinned as he grabbed a glass out of the cupboard, but Zara's tone was serious. James and Kyle went for their pickup, and Lauren positively identified Adelaide Kent. "You're kidding me," Ryan said, his eyebrows shooting up so fast that Lauren thought they might fly clean off his head. Zara tapped her pen on the screen. "Look for yourself." "She's my goddaughter," Ryan gasped. "The stupid, stupid little girl. Do you know where they're going?" "No idea," Lauren shrugged. "Do you think Anna and Miranda might be involved too?" "I doubt it," Ryan said. "Then again, if you'd said Adelaide was involved 10 minutes ago, I would have said you were off your trolley. Jay seemed like a nice young fella too. He's studying film and television at university with Adelaide. He was telling me all about a work placement he was doing on a big car chase movie." "Eh?" Lauren gasped. "Where are they making the movie?" "He didn't say, but there's a big studio complex near Bath. It's probably out there." Zara looked at Lauren. "Well, what are you getting at?" "Well," Lauren said, "for a big car chase movie, they've got to be wrecking, modifying, and painting lots of cars for stunts and stuff. So, What if Jay got some of the dudes working there to modify the rapid track van that James and Kyle took up to Wrexham the other night? I've heard worse theories, Zara said, as she tapped Bath Film Studio into Google. Got it, she said, reading from her laptop screen. Currently filming at Walker Studios near Bath, Wild Ride 2 is the sequel to the surprise hit of summer 2004. This time, the gang plot to steal the crown jewels from the Tower of London using a fleet of antique racing cars. It's got to be worth checking out, Lauren said. Zara nodded. I'll pass the information along to campus, and one of our research assistants can start digging.